I'll put the bracket up. I know where the top eight bracket is. What was that?
Oh, Ryan Overturf wins.
Awesome. Right, Overturf with the Grixis deck advancing to play against Piper Powell on Lotus Burn perspective. Because we've seen a lot from Overturf's perspective.
Yeah, so this is what it's like to play against the Grixis deck.
Yeah, where you don't know what's going on, and your opponent has a Lurrus out, and like, oh boy.
Yep, and this is the light up the stage you want. Piper's going to go ahead and get more power on the board first before going for the card advantage engine. Makes a lot of sense. And especially, like, next turn, she may be missing a land drop otherwise.
Right.
So it's, Ryan's not going to be able to use 2 mana on his second turn to kill both of these creatures unless he's extremely lucky here. So she's pretty confident in getting a creature through for the spectacle on light of the stage. And that sort of like getting that card advantage rolling at that discounted cost, getting this early damage in is going to be a really big deal. And we see, a lot of these Lurrus decks are not playing Boros Charm.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather... This game is played a lot on board in Pioneer right now, so they'd rather play extra 2 mana, 3 damage spells. But in this matchup, all she needs to do is deal some amount of damage to Ryan.
Yeah.
And then he's not going to really be able to stop these burn spells.
Not equipped to really stop the burn spells, and, very tenuous grasp on life gain with just Lurrus. So there's that. And I do sort of like holding off on the light up the stage to like push a little more damage through. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see this Boros Charm go, or maybe the Strike, but one of those two go the way of the that bird that died.
Yeah. I mean, it's a question here. Like, the Boros Charm is worth 1 more damage.
Yes.
But the Lightning Strike kills Lurrus. And that can be really important potentially, just because it's a 3/2 lifelink.
3/2 lifelink. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's
way rather trade a Lightning Strike for it than trade a creature for it and let him gain 3 life. Like, that's pretty important. And we see, there's a bunch of awkward cards in Ryan's deck game 1. Thoughtseize and Croxa are just really not worth a card in this matchup.
Yeah.
And definitely not worth the time it takes to cast. Spending your entire second turn just kind of Ravens criming Piper here is not ideal. And that's a solid reveal off a light up the stage.
Yeah, you need Cry of the Carnarium right now.
Yeah, I think Ryan's in a lot of trouble very quickly.
Absolutely. Without an early removal spell, and, we've seen from Ryan's perspective, sometimes the mana doesn't even work, so we might have a couple of awkward shock lands in our hand.
Yeah.
Really going to give where's our advantage bar? Because I want to slide it over to the left.
Yeah, and I think maybe in this matchup, I would like to see Ryan mulligan a little more aggressively. He kept 7, but his first turn was Fabled Passage, and his second turn was Croxa, and he also was light on lands. So I'm not... I'd be hard-pressed to put together a 7 that sort of makes sense to keep where all of that happened.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're good at mulliganing in this house. We got that in our system.
Yeah, we do talk about mulligans quite a bit.
Yeah. You've been doing a podcast for years now where every time you talk about whether or not to keep or mulligan.
Well, we haven't been as consistent about the keeper mull segment lately. It just, sometimes we don't have a particularly interesting hand. And one thing that we talked about on the last episode is that between the London Mulligan and Companions,
there's all
it simplifies a lot of decision making. I mean, London Mulligan means that like anything that's like borderline you ship, and Companions mean that like they kind of work against each other a little bit, but it's mostly like if I'm light on lands, I really want to mulligan because I got an extra spell and I know that I can fix my hand to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So a lot of the I wonder hands are just like I know what the metrics are for this.
Sure. But okay, so there were many years where you've exercised the muscle, so we just got it down.
Yeah, and in this new age of London Mulligan plus Lurrus, I want to ship Landlight hands.
Yeah,
I'm very likely to ship Landlight hands.
Oh wow, from the one of the Mulligan Grandmasters of the MTV Grandcast. Honestly, it's probably not far off. You probably spent more time talking about it than most.
Well, yeah, we did spend a lot of time talking about it, and man. Yeah, Ryan's deck just spinning wheels here.
Look at this strategic planning. Didn't we talk about this earlier?
I said I wouldn't say anything else about it, but the cards that Ryan has cast this game have done nothing to stop what Piper's doing.
You're at 10? All right, let me count all this down. I have, oh my, this isn't great for you, is it?
Yeah.
Wild Slash you, light up the stage, play the land, let's
Yeah,
go.
the only saving grace here is that Piper doesn't have enough lands to cast all of the spells here.
Well, we can try to remedy that right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a ton of damage. This is a Lava Axe Wild Slash.
Yeah.
And then this is a Lightning Bolt light up the stage. So that's just lethal, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because this is a 9.
Yeah, that's just 9 damage with the dudes.
So kill you, draw 2. The draw 2 was irrelevant.
I just needed this to be one rad mana sorcery. That's all the text that I needed.
Sorcery. What's it do? Don't worry about it. I'm not going to resolve it. You should go. All right, so how are we boarding? It looks like...
It looks like the deck is pretty well set up for this matchup. You don't... Chain to the Rocks is just not really a thing. You don't need a removal spell for this matchup.
So what about the Grafdigger's Cage? That's sort of the only thing I'm thinking about.
I think the Luris is better in the aggressive deck than in the controlling deck.
Okay.
So I think spending a card to shut down the Lurises
It's just slowing you down.
It's just not a good plan.
Wow. Man, this is rapid fire.
Her deck is streamlined, set up to kill you, and, I'm more interested in the way that Ryan is sideboarding for this matchup, because he's got to change his deck.
So we've seen that before. Take out the Thoughtseizes, take out the... There's another card that he took out, and then bring in a little more... he brings in the additional Soul Guide Lantern, and just, ways to deal with things cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his sideboard cards, he'll have a couple of deadweights, which are definitely a pretty huge key in this matchup. If he draws a deadweight, I think he's in pretty good shape.
And then I think the rest of it was those Liliana's Triumphs.
Yep, which is okay. I mean, the one-mana removal is...
better than... Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than drawing Thoughtseizes. It's better than getting overloaded on Grixis or whatever. I mean, there's just, a number of cards that I would like to take out in the matchup. But being on the play now, and if he does draw a deadweight, that is just gigantic. Mm-hmm. No one drop from Piper is a pretty big deal here.
Yeah, that sort of lets you get a Jace out without you being guaranteed to take 1,000,000 points of damage after you get a Jace out, so I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I cast Jace into this.
Interesting.
Because that really lets Piper use her turn 1 mana. Mm-hmm. It's just, so you look at her sideboard and you realize that she's not sideboarding anything out, so she's probably got all of her shocks still in.
Yeah.
So I do like just casting a cantrip here. You got to get them out of your hand. You got to find something with it. And
yeah, I was going to say, how do you like this? What about, all right, you're going to bolt my Jace? How about strategic planning?
Yep, and I think that is just good.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a little better if it was Ransack the Lab, but strategic planning is good too.
Yep. Gonna get out the 2-mana creature, and makes a lot of sense. The Swift Spear can come down on a spell turn and get a little extra haste damage in.
Yep. I'd be excited, about that. And we have a lot of sort of stuff to do with our mana, so it's after maybe they'll have a shields down turn as well, where you can monastery spell and get the last few points of damage. So I value haste.
Yeah, or just use the Swift Spear to turn on the light up the stage, so it's not sitting there clogging up your hand.
True.
The Swift Spear represents a very useful tool on a future turn because of that haste.
Chris, what happened to our Viashino Pyromancer? We switched to Discord and it disappeared.
I believe it got fatal pushed.
Oh yeah, it did. All right, so this is an interesting one. No shocks or anything like that. So the Swift Spear should be good to get in and help us light up the stage.
Yep.
But then why did we play the land?
Yeah, playing the land there, I definitely question just a little bit. Looks like she's... Okay, so no light up the stage
pushing
this
damage
turn.
through. That's fine.
Yeah, I guess if you get in the 6th this turn, that puts Ryan to 12, and then she's just got 9 points of burn in her hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you can always turn on this light up the stage with the Wild Slash, so it's not that big of a deal that the Monastery Swift Spear is just out there ready to get killed at this point.
And you can't guarantee the creature any other time, so this is all pretty fine.
Yeah. Just turn the Swift Spear into a shock that Ryan also needs to kill is a fine use of a Swift Spear.
Yeah, it honestly might be way better than what we were thinking. Uh-oh.
And this just doesn't matter.
Crookside is not good.
Yeah, get rid of the most awkward card in the hand. Yeah. In some matchups, fine finisher. In this matchup, it's just not very good. And this is... So what this represents, if Piper wants to, she can actually use this Boros Charm to indestructible her team and get an extra damage
Yeah.
if Ryan has left up a removal spell, and that's what's happening here.
With this being what's going on,
Yeah, unlikely that...
bottom. This might be a quick one. Just as a reminder, we already got Pop.
Oh, that's true.
Piper
Yeah,
at
I forgot to
1A.
get that up there. And
That's
she
okay.
is going to go ahead and just Boros Charm, a 6 damage Boros Charm this turn.
Boom. That POD song. Boom.
Yeah, I remember the 90s,
POD.
early 2000s, I guess.
I would hope 90s. Like I hope we were past that. I hope we weren't still doing POD in the early 2000s.
Ryan does have the removal spell, keep himself at 6 rather than 4. Pretty important here.
And then here's Kalidas.
If this is Kalidas, that's a good start.
I mean, we're gonna need something like that. For
It looks like a Kalidas. Nope. It's,
no.
Bringing back Croxa. That is less good. Ryan does not have Kalidas. He can't have it in a Lurrus deck, so, that's a tough one for him to present.
Yeah, but if he had played a Kalidas, it would have been good, is all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, there's a Croxa. Oh, I love getting rid of the light up the stage and keeping the wild slash. It's like, okay, I'm gonna draw 2 burn spells. You wait. Actually, so now we can wait. Oh. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of want to get the cards out of my hand.
So what you could do is you could Ash Zealot, Wild Slash, attack, and put them to, put Ryan to 2. And then you're, live. All your draws are live.
Yeah, I do kind of like that a little bit better than this Lurrus. But, Ryan is probably pretty low on removal at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's, pretty likely that this Lurrus survives into Piper's next turn. That attack is a bad sign, though.
Well, I mean, I think it's deterministic because Ryan has the Lurrus.
Sure.
So if there's a land, we can do Lurrus Jace and have 2 blockers.
2 blockers.
I just really liked getting them to 2.
Yeah.
And
getting the cards out of your hand means that the Croxa trigger doesn't cost you a card at that point.
correct.
Okay, there's the removal spell. And I guess likely another removal spell.
Yeah, that is what this seems like. So, we'll do the attack, and then they'll do a removal spell. Not a big deal. Oh, the other way, we just had them at 2. I just love that so much more.
Right, and then there's the Lurrus to cast this turn.
Yeah.
And bring back a creature. Yeah, I think that I would lean in that direction. And definitely a pretty big punish by Ryan just having more removal spells.
Mm-hmm.
But his list is relatively removal heavy at this point with the extra dead weights, and the Liliana's triumphs.
Yeah.
But one thing, he could have gotten clogged up with some of those cantrips, and that would have made his turn potentially really awkward.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's just going to deal 9 with this Croxa, and, one of the upsides of having Boros Charm in your deck is Piper can draw Boros Charm while Ryan is at 4 here.
We've seen a lot of Boros Charms.
Unless this is a Kolaghan's command. It's not.
You can still Boros Charm through a Kolaghan's command.
But that would be lethal if he cast it right now.
Oh, yikes. You can't Boros Charm through Taken 2 right now.
Nope. And that's not going to do it.
No, this Vantage has been more inspiring at other points. All right, so we are tied up. 1-1. I'm going to press a button.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a blast. These buttons, they go when you press them, and that's, nice.
They're satisfying. It really feels like you're doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she'll be on the play this game, and I think that's pretty enormous with these 1-drops.
Mm-hmm.
They're just really hard, especially with the pressures that Ryan's mana base is putting on his ability to cast spells. It's very possible that a 1-drop gets in a couple of times before he's able to deal with it.
If I were Ryan, I would be pretty aggressively... I would hope to mulligan to untap Black Source removal spell.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if the game goes late enough, I can maneuver a way to win. So I'm fine with going down 1 or 2 cards to try to make that happen.
Yeah. Because you will be down all of your cards if you get run over because your hand is cantrips and Croxa.
Yes, that is correct.
Got to pick our companion at the beginning of the game. Give Luris a little pat on its head.
Yep.
This is not a hand I'm excited about. I think this is a pretty...
Yeah, easy mulligan.
And then this hand...
Probably an easy keep.
Oh, man. The 1-drops. The Lava Runners are not at their best in the all-creature hand.
Nah. They'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, Piper just wants to draw spells at this point.
Yep.
Just any burn spell off the top, and then another burn spell off the top, and then this hand goes completely nuts.
Piper's like, all right, you remember the deal. This next card is Light Up the Stage.
Yeah, I mean, Light Up the Stage obviously is the optimal one, but...
Oh.
Uh-oh.
There it is, Deadweight.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's just push. Deadweight would have been amazing.
Yeah, Deadweight sets up for the Luris the same way that like having the Omen of the Sea in play sets up for the Yorion.
No, oh, come on.
I don't hate this because giving the like allowing the Lava Runners to develop into haste creatures at some point
Sure.
is actually a pretty it's a way to stack your hand basically. So I think that the Ash Zealot is actually a pretty solid play here. Because the Lava Runners are not going to attack for more than 1 damage each on this turn.
Yeah.
So you're really not setting up for additional damage. The only thing you're setting up for is it's more difficult to clear the board versus 2 creatures.
Yeah.
But, you know, this Zealot got it in for the 2 damage, and now here's another 2 damage.
So we are caught up on damage.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
And now this is a lot of threats.
I mean, yeah. You know, Ryan Overturf is pretty much tasked with dealing with, at the very least, you know, 1 or 2 of these creatures. You know, life totals aren't as high as they used to be for the control decks. And, you know, that Croxa, we've talked about it before. I'll say it again. It doesn't do much.
All right. And this third land represents a Luris.
Great.
So, you know, having that companion means that a lot of your draw steps at this point are just really good.
And did my opponent just spend the past few turns killing my creatures? Because I have a Luris now, okay? So they come back.
Yep. And, you know, one upside to encouraging Ryan to kill an Ash Zealot is also that that's a haste creature in your graveyard for Luris to bring back, which is more powerful than bringing back a non-haste creature.
Very true. And remember when I said I would be really strict about these mulligans? You know, 2 Croxas is very close to ain't it.
Yeah. Very true. Just Ryan's last 2 turns have been Raven's Crimes.
Yeah, Raven's Crime. You.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Not impressive.
But it costs 2, and it's also kind of hard to cast.
Okay, yeah. Well, now I'm kind of on board. You're convincing me here.
Now that we're getting, you know...
Yeah, let's Raven's Crime this mono red deck.
What was the card I was talking about earlier that was like a charming card? Because it was just pretty bad. I forget which one it was, but you described it, and I was like, oh yeah, that is why it never works.
I don't know. I don't remember. All right, so Ryan opted. I can't tell if he topped or bottomed here.
Oh yeah, we don't have the game log up.
Yeah.
We'll just assume he bottomed. I'll bottom everything when I'm in this spot.
I mean, anything but a point removal spell. Even point removal spell here, like, you gotta kill the Luris, but you're gonna take at least 4, and definitely... Oh, man.
Oh, he kept that one on top. He was like, yeah! Strategic planning right now. Let's go, baby.
Oh, boy.
Do we have, like, an extinction event?
Oh, boy.
Well, I think that you're dead now.
Yeah, this is, you know, this is not... If this were the second spell,
yeah,
then this would be completely insane. As is, this Lava Runner doesn't get pumped. There's no Lava Runner in the graveyard to get... Like, the Lava Runners in the graveyard don't get haste now, but this is still 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... It's
11.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the attack. So this puts Ryan to 1.
Yeah.
So, you know, win. What are you doing?
Right.
Hurry up.
Well, just counting, just making sure. You know, there is an argument for, like, do I want to get a double prowess trigger off of this? Mm-hmm. But then you count your opponent's life total and the power that you have in play, and it's like, okay, yeah, there's just no reason for that.
Yeah, doesn't do anything.
Cast the Soulscar Mage. Just way...
Oh, we hurt ourselves. Nambo, we lose.
Way too many problems for Ryan to deal with. He has no sweepers. It's just too much for him to handle.
Yep, and so we do have our winner of that one. It was Piper.
Yep, so Piper will be in our finals. A good run for Ryan Overturf.